Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. I'm here to present my second project. It is on exploratory data analysis. My project name is Data-Driven Analysis and Visualization of Amazon Prime TV shows and movies. So I have divided project into multiple subcategories. I start with introducing the project, followed by problem statement, followed by objectives of the business objectives of the project, followed by the research questions. Then I have brief project summary. I begin with dividing the entire analysis into different steps. So the first step is understanding the data. Second step is handling missing values. The third one is to check and drop duplicates. The fourth one is to spot and handle outliers. The fifth one is exploratory data analysis and visualization. In the fifth step, I have carried out univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis. Finally, I've provided some solution to the business objectives, and finally, I conclude the project. So, in the introduction, OTT streaming industry is experiencing explosive growth with platforms like Amazon Prime, Netflix, constantly competing for the global market share. This data set provides an opportunity to analyze the composition, diversity, and performance of Amazon Prime's US catalog to uncover meaningful insights. So this dataset contains two CSV files. The first one is titles and second one is credit. So the title has metadata of 9,000 plus unique titles, and credits data has 1,24,000 plus entries of actors, directors, and crew. So the key attributes for our title details: the movie name, type, content characteristics. We have runtime, we have genres, we have production countries. For audience and audience measures, we have IMDb score, TMDb score, popularity, and for last we have cast and crew data, in which we have actors, directors, and their role. Problem statement. So this project analyzes Amazon Prime Video's US catalog to uncover trends in content diversity, regional representation, temporal growth, audience rating, and star influence, with the goal of deriving insights that support data-driven content strategy in the streaming industry. My business objectives are to investigate the relationship between runtime and popularity, to identify what defines as quality content. Secondly, to identify most influential actors, directors on the platform. Thirdly, to explore which genres perform best in terms of ratings. Fourthly, to assess how different production countries contribute to the catalog. And fifth is to explore relationship among numerical variables. The research questions that I have tried to answer in this project are what proportion of titles are movies and TV shows? Which genre dominate the platform? How has the content library evolved over the years? How do numerical variables like IMDb score, TMDb score, runtime, votes, popularity relate to each other? Then which countries contribute most to the Amazon Prime catalog? What is the distribution of IMDb ratings? And are there any patterns linking specific actors, directors to higher ratings and popularity? There is a project summary. Project actually aims to analyze Amazon Prime's US catalog to uncover patterns in content diversity, temporal trends, regional distribution, ratings, and talent participation. And these findings provide an actionable insights to different stakeholders. So in understand my data, I have imported libraries. Firstly, I'll actually run all of my code in one go. So we'll check if all cells have run successfully or not. So yes, the last code has been run successfully. Let's go back to our step one, which is an understanding data. So I've imported libraries. Then I have done this data set loading, and we have a first view of data set, which is the shape. It is some 9,871 rows and 15 columns we have. For columns, we have ID, title, type, description, release year, age certification, runtime, genres, production country, season, IMDb ID, IMDb score, IMDb votes, TMDb popularity, and TMDb score. Here, title head, titles DF tail, then dataset information. Here we get the information about the dataset. Describe, we get a statistical summary. We do describe on object data types, which is for the categorical variables. Then we have data types. Then the numerical columns. We find the numerical columns in the data set with this select D types. Then we have categorical columns. We have checked for unique values. So I have checked for value counts in type. What are the number of movies in data set and what are the number of shows in the data set. Similarly, we have production countries unique. Then there is step 2, which is handling null values. So for handling null values, the first step in handling null values is to identify its presence and magnitude. So here out of 15 columns, 8 columns have null values in them. After checking, the next step is to remove the unnecessary or irrelevant columns. So this can be done using the drop columns. I have dropped description, age certification, seasons, IMDb ID and IMDb votes. So we drop these columns. And then we again check after dropping unnecessary column, we again check how many columns we are left that have null values. All these 3 columns are numerical columns. To fill the null in these columns, we either use mean or median. So to understand the distribution of that variable, we use box plots. So for that, for all the 3 columns, I have plotted box. To accurately capture the distribution, we use skew method. So we calculate the skewness of the data in each column. For skewness, to understand the distribution, if it is normal or skewed, there is this rule. Any column with more than 0.5 skewness is highly skewed and should be and we should use median as its descriptive measure. Else for normal or fairly normal distribution, we use mean. In this way, we fill all the null values of the columns. Step 3 is to check and drop for duplicates. This is an easy step. We just write df.duplicated.sum. We have 3 duplicates. We drop them. For step 4, we spot and handle outliers. So we have a column called runtime. In runtime, we have a runtime for movies and shows all together. For that, we check for outliers. So we plot a box plot to see the outliers. For accurately detecting the outliers, we use interquartile range, that is IQR. We use Q1 and Q3 using the quantile method, and we get Q1, Q3 and IQR. For getting the lower and upper limits in runtime, we use we introduce lower limit variable in which we have Q1 minus IQR into 1.5, and for upper limit we do Q3 plus IQR into 1.5 and we print those limits. So for outlier runtimes from both the sides, we filter the data for runtime which is lower than lower limit and for the runtime which is more than upper limit. While filtering, we are going to drop only the outliers from the lower limit. So the reason is the runtime can extend up to much more minutes, but it can't be extremely small. So the runtimes that are 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes in the data set are actually not movies or TV shows. They are actually trailers or bonus videos of those seasons and videos, or behind the scene videos for 2 to 3 minutes, which are not actually movies or shows. So those are the outliers that do not actually add any analytical value, and it's good to actually drop them. Okay, finally, after that, we actually join the two data sets. We have 2 data sets. One is titles DF, another one is credits CSV. And we have around 1,24,189 rows and 15 columns after merging. We have a first look for data, which is heads, tails, shape, columns, info. It's the same repetition of the process. So the release here, I have looked for unique values. So actually the data set ranges from 1912 to 2022. So it is the data set has data of about 110 years. So here also I have handled missing values in the same way. So after handling null values, we have 0 nulls for it. We have checked for duplicates. There are 311 duplicates. We have dropped them. Finally, we come to the step 5, which is the exploratory data analysis and visualization. Univariate analysis, as the name suggests, is an analysis done for a single variable. And the first thing we see in univariate analysis is the distribution of IMDb scores. So I have plot a histogram. Title is distribution of IMDb scores. X label is IMDb scores, and Y label is frequency. And why have I used a histogram? So histogram is used to visualize the single variable and its distribution. And I have used it here because it shows the distribution clearly. Histogram groups the score into beans and shows frequency of each score range occurs. This helps us to quickly see if scores are concentrated, spread out, or skewed. So highlight central tendency and spread. So we can see here it is fairly normal distribution here. We can see the peak of the bell curve here, and then again it's going down. What are the insights that can be drawn from this visualization? This analysis can provide insights to the stakeholder, in which we can see that the majority movies are perceived as average. This insight helps the content strategists to recognize that producing truly exceptional content 8 plus rating is rare but highly impactful. For marketing teams, this is a near normal distribution. So with a slight right skew, which suggests that while most movies hover around average, there exists a niche of highly rated content. Market teams can leverage this by promoting top performing genres and movies, and as these films hold the potential to attract more audience. For investors, again, it's the same thing. The extreme ratings below 3 or above 9 rarely exist here. So tracking shifts in distribution over time can help identify whether the production quality is improving, stagnating, or declining. What type of content is more dominant on the platform, and why is it so? So we have seen the value counts. Actually, the movies account for 8,505 types, and shows account just for 1,286. We have plot a count plot here. So high bar chart. So for categorical variables like type, with only two categories, movies and shows, bar chart is more appropriate. It compares the frequency directly of each category, making it easy to see which is more common. And we can clearly see that movie is much more common than show on Amazon Prime's US catalog. So this is clear and intuitive. There are just two categories, so it works well with fewer categories and supports a relative comparison. Okay, so insights. Firstly, to answer the question, why is it so that the movies account so much and the shows account so less, is because the data set has the data of about 110 years. So before the beginning of the 21st century, the movies were the popular content type. TV shows didn't actually exist. They exist in much later since it mostly in 21st century. So in from the beginning of the 21st century, and it surged a lot in the COVID era. Content strategists can use this insight to rebalance the catalog either by increasing investment in shows to attract binge watchers, or continuing to strengthen their movie portfolio depending on user preferences. So similarly, the marketing teams can promote TV shows as premium or special content that differentiate the platform from the competitors. For investors, perspective, it's again the same. Is the movie heavy strategy generating higher short-term returns, or would the diversifying into shows capture more long-term subscriptions? So tracking future changes in this ratio will help investor access whether the platform is adapting well to the industry trends. The next one is bivariate analysis. Bivariate analysis shows the relationship between two variables to identify patterns, trends, and correlations. The volume of content is distributed across the years according to the data set. So as we have data extending up to 110 years, it is only logical to compare the decade-wise data. So we'll group those by decade and then analyze. For here, I have created a new column called decade, and then grouped the release year into different decades. After that, we have introduced another data frame, includes only title and decade. And then we group by decade, and then we get the count of titles that were released in that decade. So we have the data. This is from 1910 to 2020. For visualizing, I have used bar chart. The reason to use bar chart was bar chart is perfect to compare discrete categories. Now decades is discrete category. The height of each bar clearly shows how many titles were released per decade. It's clearly visible here, and it makes trend over time easy to spot. Insights, we can see a big spike in decade of 2010 to 2020. This is majority due to COVID-19 pandemic. So for stakeholders, the chart reveals massive growth in content production after 2000s. For strategists, this signal a need to focus not only on producing content but also analyzing on and maintaining the quality of oversaturated market. For marketing teams can leverage this insight by highlighting unique genres from these decades and then advertise them for standing out in the market. And for investors, this booming market will be the reminder to assess risk tied to industrial fluctuations. The second question is, what are the 10 most popular genres on the list and how do their popularity compare to each other? So this is another important question to understand what genres are actually in demand, what is the volume of those. So I have actually created a dictionary for genres and their counts, how many times the genre was mentioned, and we get this dictionary. That dictionary gets turned into a data frame, and we get the top 10 genres, drama being the most popular here. I've used horizontal bar plots to show the genres and the comparison. So the variable genre is categorical. So bar charts are definitely effective for categorical variables. The name of the genres are quite long, like documentation or European, which is why the horizontal bar chart used to be more appropriate than the vertical one. In vertical, they might get overlap. The analysis shows that drama, comedy, and thriller dominate the Amazon Prime's catalog. This indicates that while these genres are safe investment, there may also be an opportunity to strengthen the underrepresented genres such as European or family. For marketing teams, the genres which are actually nascent in the nascent stage can be promoted. For investor can interpret this opportunity to invest in a low risk genre like drama and all, and take a bit of a risk to invest in the not so popular content, because that will diversify the content catalog of Amazon Prime. The third question is, what is the average IMDb score for TV shows, and does the length of runtime vary the IMDb? This analysis will prove to be the base for comparison when we have the future data available for Amazon Prime catalog. We can see that what is the IMDb score, average IMDb score for TV shows at 6.98, and actually study if the runtime of the episodes of TV shows, do they affect the IMDb ratings or not. We divide runtime into 10 minutes beams, and then we find the average. We can see that we have grouped by runtime bin and then added IMDb scores mean. The average IMDb score for each runtime bin. Then we visualize this analysis using a line chart. Actually, the range of this line plot is around 6 points to 7.75. In that range, it fluctuates a lot, but it doesn't fluctuate into extremes like 3 or 4 IMDb ratings or 8 or 9 IMDb ratings. So while line chart is the most appropriate for continuous variable. We have runtime bin at interval 10, especially with many runtime bins. Line plot avoids the clutter. For stakeholders should prioritize 50 to 60 minute episodes and carefully evaluate the viability of intermediate runs. So we can see the fluctuation here. It peaks around here in 50 to 60, and again it peaks much more for a very long episodes. For marketing teams should understand that achieving high rating is rare, but they can promote it in a way that these shows can be promoted as premium cinematic experiences to appeal wider audience. For investors, based on this data, investors can decide how to allocate their investments. Which are the top 100 most popular content on the Prime list, and how are they distributed according to the production countries? So for most popular content, we have considered TMDB popularity as the measure, and then we sort the values by ascending equals to 4, that is the descending order, and we get 100 titles. Okay, and then we get another dictionary where we get the number of counts of those titles. So US has like the most titles. To visualize it, I use a pie chart. So why pie chart? Pie chart is ideal when we depict proportions For stakeholders, we can see that this highlights both strength, that is dominance of US production, and gap, need to diversify more global hits to appeal varied audience. Again, marketing teams can leverage this by highlighting global shows, and for investors, investment purpose, investing in US productions is a safer investment. Another question that we see is which are the top actors with highest IMDb and TMDb ratings. I have created a actors data frame with only actors, and then we group by name, and we count their titles. And IMDb and TMDb means. Actually, the IMDb and TMDb are largely aligned, so showing that audience agreement across platforms. Minor variation may point regional biases. And interestingly, the list is not dominated by Hollywood stars, but by regional actors from diverse market, hinting that high rating come from niche yet impactful projects, not just mainstream global hits. For multivariate analysis, I have plotted a pair plot. Each variable is plotted against every other variable. And on the diagonal of the grid, we see the distribution of each variable. And this helps us understand the spread of each variable. And pair plot is like a summary visualization of all pairwise scatter plots plus distribution in your data set. Then I have plotted a heat map. Heat map is a visual representation of pairwise correlation between numerical columns in the data set. And each cell of correlation coefficient between -1 to 1. And the colors represent the very strong correlation between two variables. So here we can see the diagonal one shows that correlation of that variable with itself, which is perfectly correlated. That is why we can see 1. And others show the correlation between every pair. There are some good takeaways we can see that strongest positive correlation is between IMDb and TMDB score. Finally, we come to solutions to business objectives. In this paragraph, I have provided a brief description of the strengths and weaknesses of the Amazon Prime TV shows, and then finally, in conclusion, I have concluded the entire project, which says that the overall project demonstrates how the data analysis can uncover strength, highlight gaps, and provide actionable solutions for business growth in the streaming industry.